All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a question that's honestly so relevant for all of us right now. How exactly do we study and practice the Dharma in the modern era? If you've ever felt like true spiritual cultivation means you have to just pack up and completely abandon society, well, we're going to flip that idea on its head today. We're looking at how real, practical practice happens right here, right in the messy middle of our busy lives. Think about the classic metaphor of the lotus flower for a second, right? A lotus doesn't grow in perfectly pristine, crystal clear water. It roots itself deep down in the mud. But then that blossom emerges completely spotless, completely pure. And the texts use this exact image to tell us that true spiritual purity is actually meant to bloom right in the middle of the everyday world. It's not about escaping your life at all. It's about transforming yourself from within it. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the cosmic heavenly timing, the cultivator's worldview, rules for a happy life, how to study Dharma, daily steps for practice, and finally, building merit and virtue. Let's get into it. Starting off with Section 1, the cosmic heavenly timing, taking a look at the macro level. The source texts lay out this massive 129,600-year cosmic cycle. It's basically broken down into 4 spiritual seasons. You've got spring for creation, summer for growth, autumn for decay and harvest, and winter, which brings destruction. Now, according to this framework, we are currently living in the cosmic autumn. And if you think about real autumn, leaves dry up, the wind howls, things start to break down and decay, right? But crucially, it's also the time for harvest. The texts point out that the increasing chaos and disasters we see in the world today are literally symptoms of this cosmic autumn. It's a time when spiritual seeds are being harvested, so there's a massive sense of urgency for us to cultivate right now. And that perfectly sets up this huge historical contrast between the Red Era and the White Era. Back in the day, during the Red Era, cultivating your spirituality meant you had to retreat to a temple or go hide in the forest or the mountains. You had to be a monk. But today, we're in the White Era, and that totally flips the script. Now, everyday people are called to cultivate the Dharma right at home. You can hold down a 9-to-5 job, raise your kids, deal with rush hour traffic, and still walk the absolute highest spiritual path. Your life doesn't stop for the practice. Your life is the practice. Moving on to Section 2, the cultivator's worldview, and how we navigate all this chaos. There's this incredibly profound insight from the text that says to change vengeance into forgiveness may take half a lifetime. Half a lifetime! They are not sugarcoating it. Letting go of the ego isn't some overnight hack. When somebody does us wrong, our natural knee-jerk instinct is to strike back. So choosing forgiveness, that is a massive, heavy-lifting spiritual task. It means actively dismantling your own ego piece by piece, which can take years or even decades. It's really tough work, but it is absolutely essential if we want to move forward. To explain the focus required for this, the texts share this great little story. Imagine a young guy from the city who wants to try plowing a field. The farmer hands him the plow, but the kid's lines are just all over the place. The farmer tells him, hey, you gotta fix your eyes on a target to plow straight. So the young man looks out and locks eyes on a cow grazing way off in the distance. He plows again, and it's even worse. Why? Because the cow is moving. The farmer explains that your target has to be anchored like a nearby palm tree. And that's exactly how it is for a cultivator. We have to lock on to an unwavering spiritual goal. If you're anchoring your happiness to moving targets, like money, status, or what people think of you, your path is going to be completely chaotic. Here's another amazing story about keeping an open mind, featuring Confucius and his star student Yan Hui. One day, Yan Hui was in charge of cooking for the group, and another student caught him secretly eating a handful of rice straight out of the pot before anyone else was served. Huge disrespect, right? The student tells Confucius, who confronts him. But Yan Hui explains, look, a chunk of dirt fell from the ceiling into the rice. I didn't want to waste the food, but I couldn't let you guys eat dirt, so I scooped out the dirty part and ate it myself. Confucius realized he'd completely jumped the gun and famously pointed out that seeing isn't always believing. As cultivators, we've got to stay broad-minded. We just cannot instantly judge people based on a quick glance or a snap assumption. All right, Section 3, rules for a happy life, focusing on maintaining our joy. There are some really practical, everyday mindset shifts here to keep us out of suffering. First up, cultivate gratitude. Yes, even for the really hard lessons. Second, let go of comparisons. Constantly checking out your neighbor's car or career is literally just a recipe for misery. Third, fulfill your own duties. Do your job, and stop judging how others do theirs. Fourth, forgive people and drop the grudges. Fifth,
Stop trying to change people. You can only change yourself. And finally, accept your karmic reality. Just own that where you are right now is the result of past actions, and it's your starting point for building a better future.
Which naturally brings us to the biggest question of this entire explainer. We know the era we're living in. We know the mindset we need to have. So, in this chaotic modern era, how do we, as busy everyday people, actually study and practice the Dharma day in and day out?
That brings us to Section 4, How to Study Dharma by Feeding the Mind.
The sources give us 4 really clear steps for this. Number 1, attend Dharma classes. Learn directly from folks who have walked the path. Number 2, read the sacred texts and books. Expand your perspective with the wisdom of the sages. Number 3, visit the shrine regularly. Just stepping into a physical space of spiritual focus really helps to calm the mind and hit the reset button on your energy. And number 4, join spiritual activities and camps. Diving into these resources totally demystifies the whole process. It proves that this isn't some mysterious magic. It is a highly practical method to unlock our inner wisdom. Which leads right into Section 5, daily steps for practice, or basically doing the inner work. So the texts recommend this incredibly structured nightly routine meant to be done right before you go to sleep. Step 1, calm your mind and physically settle down. Step 2, remember the Buddha or whatever your higher spiritual ideal is, just to set your baseline. Step 3 is tough but necessary. Reflect honestly on the day's mistakes. Where did your ego or anger or greed get the better of you today? Step 4, genuinely repent for those moments. And finally, Step 5, focus on the heavenly portal. In this tradition, the heavenly portal is the mind's central focal point, usually thought of as the space right between the eyebrows. Centering yourself here at the end of the day draws all your scattered, frantic energy back to its source. It wipes the slate clean so you aren't dragging today's junk into tomorrow. And finally, Section 6, building merit and virtue through external action. Inner work is great, but how do we build external merit? By getting out there into the world. You can physically help out at your local temple or spiritual center. You can get involved in social work or charity. You could sponsor the printing of Dharma books to get the wisdom out there. But honestly, the absolute highest form of this is guiding others to the Dharma. The texts are super clear that helping even just one person wake up to their spiritual path builds an unbelievable amount of merit. Because you aren't just saving a physical body, you are literally saving a spiritual life. That is absolutely huge. The source leaves us with this really powerful, kind of poignant thought. A bird knows to return to its nest. A wilted flower can bloom again. But here's the catch. Unlike that flower that's going to come back next spring, our time here in this specific body and life is finite. Time is ticking and we cannot hit rewind. We've got to gather our spiritual provisions right now, while we still have the health, the focus, and the opportunity to actually do it. Look, we are in the white era now. The tools are literally right in your hands, and the path starts right inside your own living room. Will you take the practical steps to find your spiritual roots while you still have the time? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really encourage you to chew on these teachings and maybe even try out those daily steps tonight. Until next time!